Okay. All right. Here.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, not chair.
Mine is so boring.
Cùng cáiกัน. Hello, guys. Good afternoon, everybody. Today, I will talking about React class component lifecycle. Okay. Next. So, what is lifecycle in React class component? So, each component in the React have a lifecycle which you can monitor or manipulate, like But today they have I think more than that main like 3 phase, but I will focus only 3 main phase in the React. So that's it's helpful for us to understand. I mean, it's good enough for us to understand the life cycle of the React class component. So the 3 phase are mouthing, updating, and unmouthing. That's it only phase that I'm gonna talk about. Okay, so let's come to the first phase. A mouthing phase. So when every time that the React component, when you open up and that components it come up, the first thing that will render, it will trigger the render, but and that's it called mouthing phase. So before that mouthing phase, before the render function invokes, the first thing that will go off. No. Have to go back. The first thing that React have to go through first is a constructor. In the class component, you have a constructor function. It will go through that first to get all the state and prof. That is anything in there or not. Then it will store that first. Not do anything yet. The second is called get derived state from prof. I don't even know this function. Just get it into. But yeah, it's in between the constructor function involved and the render. And number the third thing that the render function, it will render. So the render function render means the element from the React. It looks like elements in DOM, but it's in the React component. It will mount into the DOM, the virtual DOM of the React. And that time, right after the render, get involved and mounting that element that you want to put into the DOM, the component this mount will involve right away. So remind that remember that the render function is a requirement. You have to have a render function in the class component. The rest is you just optional. You can use it or you don't need to use it.
The rest like what? What do you
yes, mean? Constructor. You not need to have constructor in the class component. You not
like
need
1, 2, and 4. 1, 2,
yeah.
and 4 are optional.
3 optional.
Yeah, it's required.
Yeah, 3 is required.
It's like if you want to have like constructor for
the constructor
this is for the class
component. Class component. Yeah, the constructor
when you want to create like state, right?
Yeah, for initial the state, and I think another about the event handling something, but yeah, thing like that. But you not need to. It's like some class function not really need to do that. The second phase is called updating phase. The updating phase is to when you're already when the component first mount into the DOM, it's called mouthing. But every time the state is changed in the React, it will re-render again. So that time we not call mouthing anymore. We call updating phase. If that component already mount into the DOM, but the state in that component get updated, they will call updating phase. So that time you're not gonna see the component this mount anymore. This time the component this update will get up. But before that, they will have to go follow all the invoke function. The first will be that thing, the static get dry state from prof. I never used that in my life. I don't know what's that. And should component update too. And after that, the render function will trigger again. And that time you will get to the that one, the get snap, whatever that one. I don't know too. But the important thing that I point out is the component did update. That is the one that we use the most to do something
To
that we
update
can use.
something, right?
Yeah, I mean, no, why this function get involved? You can use that function to do something about, like, you know, whatever you want to
Okay.
do. Maybe do something.
Like
Yeah.
when we want to update something, we
Yeah,
use
when you
this.
want to show, yeah, when you want to show something like the state, yeah, when the state get update, something like that.
This will run after it's
Mhm.
update.
Yeah,
Um,
we will
Because
run
it's
after
dead.
the render. Yeah, up the render.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It update, it render first, and then this
mhm.
after.
Mm-hmm.
What is the snapshot?
อ้าวไปไหนแล้ววะ That's the thing I don't know.
It's snapshot before update. I think it's like getting
it's just
snapshot
like
of
a-
like
yeah.
a state. I think it's
Yeah.
a state.
I'm telling you,
snapshot.
entry level, I never get to use that function, but they provide
Maybe
us
you
that.
want to like compare, you know, the
Oh,
the
yeah,
last
yeah.
state.
I think
Something like
command
that,
did
I'm not
update. You can compare the last too. I think they use that in the command did update too. Like if you want to compare the previous
Yeah,
state.
usually this one I don't see too, but I see this
Yeah.
and this a lot.
Mhm. Yeah.
Wait, how is like should component update different with component did update? I never
No,
used
this one is before.
should component.
Yeah, that's
oh,
get
asking
before
to-
the render.
oh,
This is like
the
asking
key.
like, should
Yeah.
this component update?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like we will give some condition in here, like
Mhm.
if something change, then we update. Otherwise,
Oh,
if it's
okay.
not this event, then don't
Mhm.
update this component. Then it will not re-render.
Yeah.
So we can give condition, but this is also optional. So if you
Mhm.
don't add this function in the class component, it
Yeah.
will re-render every time.
Yeah. As you can
But there is
see,
no conditional.
render is always required in any phase. So
In class
This
component.
is the
Yeah,
only
in
one
class
that's
component.
required.
mhm,
It's render is kind of like return in functional component.
mhm.
Kind of.
Yeah, you have
So,
to write render.
so all those methods are for functional components? Like, I mean,
This
sorry,
one
No,
is
these
for
are
class
class
components?
components. These
Yeah,
are
for
class
class.
Only
components.
for class.
Yeah.
It's method in the class component
Mhm.
only.
It's not hook.
Yeah, it's not hook at
it's
all.
not-
This
Yeah, it's
one
not
is
hook.
nothing about
Yeah.
hook, but
If you
This is about the life cycle of
yeah,
the
I just want to show out how the
component.
how the React provide you the function during all the phase that like during all the life cycle of that class component, so that you can use this to manipulate or do something for your function. I mean for your component. Yep.
like this one will be in
Mhm.
use effect. Will be
Yeah.
will have in use effect.
Equivalent to use effect in functional component.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, are these phases similar to like
So-
kind of what goes on behind the scenes for functional components, do you think then?
Oh no,
no,
it will be
this is
totally way approach between class component
Yeah.
and functional component.
Yeah.
Class component it will be method based on the class, and it will work only with the state inside the class. That's the old way. But for functional component, it will have hooks that equivalent to the way that class component work. But even though it kind of like equivalent, but the way it work, it will be different, and it kind of it will make the way using class and functional is it kind of like totally different. It just
Yeah.
it,
And
it
I
will
feel
be
like-
another topic on that.
Mhm.
In the class component, you can do more life cycle than hooks. So if you want to do something like very specific, I feel like sometimes I think we still have to use class for some life cycle because hook doesn't provide all the life cycle that
Mhm.
class have. But it will provide the main one that we use a lot.
Yep.
Gotcha, thanks.
So is this the last phase that I'm gonna talk about called unmouthing phase? It means that when you wanna, like when you already leave that component and that component is closed, so then it will have only one providing method called component will unmouth. So it's basically just give you this one, and then it will run when you leave that component. Okay.
No,
That's
it will run before.
before,
the
yeah, will
component
unmount, yeah, it will
Will
run before and then it
Will-
will leave the
will
component.
it mean before? If it said did, it mean after.
Yep.
Yeah, so will unmounted mean it run
Yeah.
before.
We'll call when
unmount.
the component is being removed from the DOM.
I think now I remember what make class component and functional component different. The way that class component precedes data it will be by constructor where it set up state inside constructor function inside class component, but for functional component it's precedes with hooks, which is under the hood. It precedes data with closure concept that we've been talking about like in last 3 weeks, how functional component precedes data across re-rendering. That's just closure concept. But class doesn't have closure concept.
Mm.
That's how data is kind of like work differently.
Mm. Yeah.
That's why if you want to work for class component, if you want to work with state, you have to use the class component.
Like for
Like
example,
back then before 16.8, before hooks even exist. If you want to work with state, you have to use class component. And if you want to use just a dump, just to do render, you will use functional, so that there will be no data inside, because functional doesn't have constructor function inside functional component versus state. And that's kind of like caused the problem why people kind of like don't really like the class approach, because one day if what happened if like your design, your app design want to use state inside this component, you have to change the whole structure of that functional component to become class construction. Or sometimes people just say, I'm just gonna use class component
for everything.
For the future, so that I don't have to refactor from class from functional component to class component. And
that
Can
how
you use
that
both?
Yeah,
Like in
I
the
mean,
same
you
project?
can use both, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
like, yeah.
You
What
can
but
use
the
anything.
problem, like Kay said, when next, like in the future, if you want to update the function to class, so you have to restructuring your like your
because you want
component
to
the
use
whole.
state.
Yeah.
You want that component to hold state. Functional component before hooks happen, it cannot hold state.
It's called in the past. It's always have like a stateless components and stateful components. Stateless is just a functional component with just receive props.
On it. Yeah.
They cannot hold any state. They can just receive prop. Or
now we have
call like a dump component also.
Yeah.
And the class component is called like smart components or like stateful components.
Stateful because it can hold.
But we can use a function component with a custom hook, right?
Yeah.
That's before. That's after hooks. Yeah.
Yeah. Right now we can do anything in the function component.
Yeah.
This we talked it in the past before hooks.
Okay.
Before hooks.
Before 16.8.
Yeah.
Version.
So right now we can use either.
Yeah, we can use anything, but people now use functional more, cause it can do most of the stuff anyway that we need.
Yeah, and it's also come to decide pattern later when because the way that functional component can do composition, which I haven't kind of like go that route yet, but for class component, because it's class-based, it doesn't have concept of composition like functional component.
Composition is like a higher order function?
No, it's not higher order. It's kind of, I think I explained briefly about what if you have button that you want to have red button, green button, brown button, and then square button, and then you want to mix, like that's a little bit of everything composition together.
Yeah, but you use higher order function to create it, right? To like
you can do that, or you can that's another pattern that's called higher order component, and another pattern that called composition, where you don't have to prepare everything like the way that when you think about class component, you will think about what's kind of like what object look like, versus functional component where you can just, it's like a Lego, you put this and put that together, or if you don't want this, you take that out. But class component, if you have this and this class and this class, if you want to mix it together, you will have two classes together. You will have everything of that two class, but you might don't need everything in that. It's kind of like the way will be another maybe
will be another talk.
Kind of, a little
yeah, I think we not come with that topic.
Yeah, in conclusion is that also later on it will come to design pattern for component. That will really make class component and functional component so different.
Yep. And yeah, if you want to know all about that, or the life cycle method that they provide you, you can go into the into the it is a virtualization of the life cycle that I'm talking. Like in the mouthing phase, it will go through the construction first and go to that get device, that one, and then down to the component lit mouth. And in the updating phase, it will go to that function too. And the should, but I think that one probably not. Yeah, should component update, and then the render is always render when even the mouthing or the updating. And yep, that's how it is. This is the one that
this one will not render if the should component
should not. Yeah.
If it's we have condition here, it only render in some condition.
So yeah,
path.
That the full life cycle you can go look up more in the React document. And I will just talk about today that I will focus is only the render, component did mount, did update, and will unmount. So because this is the main life cycle that will following to the use effect that I will talk, I think in the next week. Okay. So it's just that the one that the same thing that I have to talk to you, like when the component get called, the constructor method will call before anything else, like I said. And then after the constructor call, the render method is required and this will call. And yep, and then the component this mount, so we'll getting called after that render function invoke. Okay, so the what's it called, the purpose of what can the use case that you can use the component this mount, it will be when you want the initialization, the requirement or the DOM node, like some data or something that you wanna use when the DOM get mounted into that. And so for some like a real world they will like to do the component did mount when they want to load the data from the API or from the endpoint, or set up any subscription, for example, set timeout, set interval, it will go into this phase, go into this function, this life cycle. Okay, so the component this update will just invoke when you update the prop or state. It's awkward, like that means like every time that your state change or your prop change, this component will this function will invoke, so you can use them. Okay, so the component will unmount. Basically, it just it's useful when you have some like subscription function that run. For example, you have a set timeout or set interval run, because this function will not get killed when you leave the component. So this will really useful for that, to make sure that you don't run that behind the scene. So it can crash your application. So demo time.
Before that, can we go back the last three? I just want to make sure that we kind of like
so anyone has a
get
question?
this a little clearly before demo.
Okay.
Anyone? I think also the way to think about when you want to use component did mount is why they say like something that require like why they think about loading data should be called inside component did mount. The way to look at it is that for the user experience, because for the first time that component is mount, you want to mount something that kind of like something so that user can see first.
Mhm.
If you try to do something that user can see and then get data at the same function call, at the same method call, that to get that data back from server, it might take time. So instead of having user to wait until you get data back and then you mount it, it will cause the first time uploading that page slow. And so that's why it's better to call to get the data like from the server inside component mount, because this will call after render function. So when we got render function, it will return an object, like the kind of like the representative of what gonna happen, like what UI gonna happen. For example, if we have like a page that have header, have like input and anything, and then inside page might have like e-commerce, those kind of like picture or stuff, you might want to try to render header and then sidebar first, and then let that come back later in like for the inside component mount. So that will help like user feel like, oh, this page give me something, I can see something, and then after the render finish, then that component mount will call and then get data and then display data inside.
Yeah, and I want to add something also about this. So component did mount and component will unmount will only run once in the life cycle. Yeah, and component did update will can run more than once, because it's like every time it updates. So that's why we want to load API in the did mount, because usually we just want the first time, and then after that it maybe depend on the user action, right? Or like set up subscription when it like the web just like start, or the component just mount the first time. And then and before it unmount, we want to unsubscribe stuff. Yeah, cause so it won't run in the background. Yeah.
So second, the next slide, and then component did update. What is triggering component to re-render?
The state and the prop.
Stage or prop change, right? Yeah. And then that automatic kick re-render. Yeah. And then when component did update, what it will do, it will give us the new property that return inside render. The property is an object that give us type, give us new prop, right? And then it will compare the previous object, and then the new render object, and see if anything changed in between. Yeah. If it's changed, it will update. Right? Okay.
Can you like give me an example for like event for like using this case? I'm kind of like I'm not sure how to use this one. I have heard about this one, but I never use it.
Yes, you do. You use it in use effect.
Use it in your
if you use use effect with the bracket.
No,
that's the component update
in my application that I create, and I
never use the component update.
Have you used use effect in your application?
For use effect I use it, but it's like when re-render, it's like you put it in the bracket, right?
That's the
component is update.
Yeah, but
the component did update.
But I mean I create my application use class, but I never use this one. That's why I'm kind of confused how to use this one.
Yeah, you the same as you use.
It's the same.
Yeah, use the
that you use in the use effect that you put in the bracket.
No, I never put anything in the bracket. That's why.
Do you have a bracket at all? Do you have a bracket at all?
I do have a bracket, but it's like every time it's like I re-render, like every time it's like a new, right? So I never use this one, and I'm kind of confused.
I mean, that's why it's optional.
What do you want to do every time it's update?
Yeah.
Every time a component you want to do something.
Yeah. You get confused,
you put
because
that thing in this function.
If you don't want to need it, it's not needed. It's optional.
I think you might.
Yeah, it's optional.
Yeah.
You might see better when you see code and demo.
Mhm.
It
So
might,
yeah,
it might help you there.
so it's
too.
just that it's just the function that is provide you, but it doesn't mean that you have to need it. If your
Or like
computer
some,
doesn't need it, it's not
when
needed.
you don't put any bracket, that's also the component did update.
Mhm.
Okay.
When you
Oh,
put one
Yes.
bracket without anything, that's the component did mount.
Yeah, I can talk about that like in the next class, because I will link that to the use effect, and I will show that why use effect can use kind similar, can do like this component, this update, this mount, and will unmount do. Yeah, but
Okay.
yeah, this was just kind of class overview.
Yeah. I think when see the demo, maybe we can
Yeah.
see better.
Yeah, this one is just
Right.
easily. Yeah. Yeah, add
And
something.
this one will
Kate.
unmount.
So for this one, the main thing is to clean up after,
Mhm.
just to make sure that
Yeah, to clean up whatever is in this mount.
Running.
I mean, for me,
you put
subscription.
you put clean up callback function inside component will unmount to make sure that whenever this component will be unmount from the DOM,
Mhm.
you have to you have to clean up something first, so that it won't get memory leak.
Mhm.
So for component, what I'm going to say, how do we know component will be unmount?
When it's not in the virtual DOM.
Mhm.
Yes.
When
How? I think we will talk about this.
when we remove from the virtual DOM.
When we
Right,
leave the
but
component, we go
Yeah,
to
be-
another component.
when the version in the DOM, it's represent object, right? And then when this one when something prop change, and then it's trigger re-render, and then that render function
when
will,
the host change. When the
Mhm.
host change.
when what?
When the host change,
When the host change?
You have
like
to go back to the class.
if your host did not change and inside change, it will update only, but it just will
Child.
unmount when the host time. When the host mean the what's that called, the parent,
The host is like
component.
the element, the
diff
element, the element.
Oh,
span or whatever element is called host.
Tag, that's the host.
So yeah, because sometimes when the next render, it might doesn't return that host, and then when the new object compare with the object that already on the DOM, and then it's like, oh, there is no host for the on the new re-render object. So that's why that one have to be taken down. So it will be unmount.
Yeah, we talk about that lots like 2 weeks ago, but it's just about how the React do like this under the hood, and like what they do, they compare, they have their own style. Like an object to have like a property of type of something, I forgot, but yeah, kind of that to compare in the DOM, the virtual DOM that they have.
Because we have mount updating, and then we'll unmount, but before it will take down or just update, it will have to do pre-commit phase to compare the new object, and then the virtual new object, and then whatever already on the DOM to compare.
that will link to, if you want to look more, it will link to about the ID stuff too that we talk about, why we have to have key. Right, but
and then if the host change, even though like for the new re-render, for example, you change, you might program, the first time is mount, you use p tag, like paragraph tag, right? And then for the if it's re-render, you want to, when you change to div, like div element, it will say this is different host, like paragraph and div, so it will unmount that paragraph and then put the
new one, the div one.
Okay.
Demo time, not that hard. This demo is just like all about just showing you guys just a console log to see when that life cycle will come. during the component. So now this I have the two component I put into the louds because I will have to show you when I leave that component. So the one that I will do is about the React cycle one. So is that one. So it's a class, right? Basically, I have the constructor. I have I initialize the state as I have two things, title and current time. It's just like basically just a title and current time. And then I have only one event on click. So just to change the state and to let you see what it will, what the method will come up on that. So so that is how that function that I can call during all of that life cycle. But if you guys can see, like if you think what's gonna happen if I click that React cycle, what is the first thing, what the console log, what line of the console log will come up? No one understand me at all.
What? Can you say again?
After all my presentation, can you tell which console log will pop up first? That was my question.
Render. Constructor.
Component did mount get
What
called.
line? What line?
Go up.
I cannot see.
No, yeah, I will
You don't have
skip the
constructor. Okay.
that's constructor got
16.
called.
Component did mount.
No, 32.
Yeah, component did out
32.
first
Where is it?
time.
No, render first.
the
Render
okay,
first. And then
render.
did mount
Yeah,
later.
I render
Yeah,
first.
render.
Fail. Class.
No, I thought that she said that when you click React cycle,
Yeah, when I click
Yeah.
to that
Oh, you
component.
click.
Oh, click.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean when I
Click and then
routing.
did update.
No, but I mean now I'm
No.
What is this?
now
Oh,
I'm in the home.
Render.
This is home component.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
This is
going
home.
to go to the React cycle, which is this code that I
Okay.
show you guys, right?
Okay.
Render.
I
Yeah.
think I have changed.
Yeah, render.
Yeah,
The
and it's
render.
only the islander will call.
Yeah. I render
No, not
and
only,
the
but
did mount.
I render did mount.
Okay,
And then,
all right.
so
Let's print out.
first line we will see I render. Second line we will see component did mount.
open
Yeah.
console.
Got
Yeah, now
called.
I'm
Open
about to
console.
click now. Click.
มึงไม่ open console อ่ะไอ้
Hold
สัตว์
on. Oh, slowly,
Oh, sorry.
slowly. Okay, open now. Yeah. Islander and component did mount got called. Okay.
Mhm.
So then what gonna happen if I click me to change? So it will be this
Can
one,
you
on line 35.
can you explain why we see render first and then component did mount
Okay,
second?
so basically I get the console log. If you get the console log, I'm not sure can you do that on the constructor. Like I told you,
you
constructor
can.
will get called first, and then it will save all the state and props, right? Not do anything, but and then after that it will go to the render. So the render will mount, you know, because this is the first time that I click to this component. That's why it will say, oh yeah, this is the first time I will mount this element. So this render function, you know, like dip from line 34 to line 37. I will mount that into the DOM. So after that render got involved, so then you will say, yeah, that is already mount. What you want to do? So that way the React provide you like right away of this function, line 15, component did mount. So that's why that console log the did
You
mount.
see the word did is mean done, right?
Yeah.
Did mount is run after it mount.
So
Yeah, the render mean
that's
mounting.
to prove that the render will call first and then
Mhm.
the did mount will call second. Component did
Mhm.
mount will call second.
Yep.
Right. That's why you see render first and then component did mount got called second.
Yep. And then come to what I say that if I click that state, when the state change, what you think what gonna get into the console log?
Click that state.
24.
On line 35, see if I click the H1, I click this, click me to change.
State will
Oh,
change.
H1 have on click. Okay.
Line
Okay, okay,
35.
Okay.
So that means because I put the state into that, H1 is the state, right? That I initial at line X say click me to change. So yeah, and then I put the event handler, event listener into that on click event into that function. So that means when I click, the state will change. It will trigger the function. The function, what function? When my function, oh here.
It will. Okay.
On click title, they will trigger that function like 12. So, and then I will change the state from click me to change to I have changed. So, yeah.
I let
you-
I render first and then component did
24.
update.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so you say I render and component did update got call.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Yay.
Yay.
Yep. And then, so when this is that how that cycle that I talk about, and that is the last one. It's really easy. So this time you think if I leave the component, the lender will call or no?
If you what?
Leave
You
the
leave?
component. Yeah. Leave this component.
Leave the
No,
No, it won't do anything because you don't
it
have.
will do
unmount.
will unmount.
Yes, it will do will unmount. Now if I can unconstruct. No, that's it because I changed
Yeah, you
this.
didn't have it before. You
Yeah.
don't save it. Save.
Save. Okay, so if I leave now to home component, see, the lender is not called.
Yeah.
Only the component will unmount will got called. So that is easy and the way that you can do
This is
anything.
good demo.
Yeah,
Mm.
but not yes. Let's see if I have some subscription
Mm.
to run before. So I will not do that, but I will instead do this. Do the subscription before when this component got mount, and I just put the subscription. So I will say I will set this current time. I will trigger it every 1 second. I mean 1 second, right? Yeah, every 1 second, and then see.
Oh, millisecond.
Yeah, millisecond. Yeah, so let's see what is
1
gonna do.
1 second, right?
1
1,000.
second. 1,000.
Oh, something like that.
Same thing,
1,000.
1 second or 1 millisecond.
1 millisecond ก็ตาเหลือก
1 millisecond. Okay, so
Millisecond.
1 second. Okay, so that's why. So we'll see. And save. We're doing it. Okay, so I will.
You know what? Your presentation make me understand more about the life cycle of all this stuff. And you know what happened in my head? It's just like when I mount the TV on my wall. Have you ever mount your TV on the wall? So
Right.
the render state is kind of like you prepare all your stuff for like the TV, and then the things like you're gonna prepare for your to mount the TV on the wall. It's kind of like prepare thing, like what you have on your hands.
Yeah.
And then when you call component did mount, it's kind of like you already hook your TV, you mount your TV on the wall. And then when you want to change, I don't like this TV anymore, and then you want to change the new TV, you just need to change the TV. So you go for a component will update component. Yeah. And then when you want to remove all the TV from your wall and you don't want it to mount on the wall anymore, you just call the component will unmount, and the render is not called anymore because you don't have to prepare anything, because you just want to take it off.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, just
I
kind
get
of
it
like
now.
that. Just have like that. Oh, that's a good example. Wow, yeah. At the first time, I don't even know what mount mean. Mount mean back. Okay.
กูสงสารดีกว่า
Okay, so let's see what is going to happen if I have this subscription and I don't have this one, right? I mean, okay, at the first time, even I don't have like this, I can go to the home component without having any problem,
ยัง
right?
เซฟ
Yeah.
ไม่เซฟ ลืมตลอด
Yeah, every time that like at the first time, I can go to the home component without any problem when I not have any subscription. But let's see when we have a subscription, what's going on. So Islander, every 1 second the state change, it will trigger, right? It will trigger the did up at the first time is like here, and then yeah, keep doing that, right? And now I just like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. I just go right to back to home. What is it say? They have a error will come up, and they said warning, cannot perform a
Memory
React state update. That means they said it cannot update the state anymore with the unmount component, because I already unmount the component, but the state still run. The update, it still run because of that subscription, the set time, set interval still run. That's why the component will unmount is important to use if you have that set timeout or set interval.
You mean like you have to use like create interval, right?
Yeah.
Until,
So,
oh, okay.
Yeah. That's why. So if you don't have it, that's why I will show you why it's not good, because it's still run even you go to somewhere else, you go to another component, it's still run under the hood, you know. So that's why.
Set interval is still keep running.
Yeah.
Unless you tell it to stop, but you didn't
Yep.
tell it to stop.
Yeah. So and that's why this is no off, but it's indicate memory leak in your application. Yep. So that's why it's like, that mean I think it's good for React to just, I don't know, it's a reacting or not the error, just show you, and they told you exactly what you have to do. So they said to fix is cancel all subscription and asynchronous test before you leave. So that's why this line is it's important when you have a subscription. So let's see if that fix the error. Hold on. This is already home. Up, Blender, and then I go to home. Now it stopped. Nothing, no warning, because like this will unmount will just run and clear all the interval. Now it's saved. Yep. So yep, that's all the demo that I have today. If anyone have a question, then
Good presentation.
nah. Hey, that's it how the life cycle work. But next week I will show you how we can use the use effect basing on this life cycle, and yeah, how we use that use effect to kind of substitute to doing this thing. Yep. And thank you everyone. If you have no question.